Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the fourth episode of Blueberry Season. My name's Corey, as you already know, and happy 4th of July, everybody. We hope you're having a great day today. Obviously, thank you to everybody who has fought and served for our country so that way we could be independent, even all the way back to 1776 and before then. So, huge shout out to all you people. Thank you for all you do for our country. We applaud you. We are so thankful for you once again. Today we have an amazing episode for y'all. We have our retail supervisor on, and so I'm going to kick it over to Clifton to tell you a little bit more, a brief intro about her, and then we'll kick it over to her so she can tell you all about herself. So over to you, Clifton.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Blueberry Season. Super excited for today's episode. And for this week's guest, we have a very good friend of mine. We have Liz Graham in the house for Blueberry Season tonight. She is right now our full-time retail supervisor for the Summit and Summit events and just all of the other merch happenings. I know my shopaholic self spends way too much time in the bunker. And yeah, Liz, this is Liz. I believe it's her seventh. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no,
it is Liz's 7th year here at the Summit Bechtel Reserve. She started seasonally, and then just through her different seasons and years, has now worked her way all the way up to full time. So yeah, we are super excited to have her. And she is also a West Virginia local, just down the road from the Summit. So it's super exciting to have her on. So I think we're just going to kind of get the ball rolling here. So first off, I think we're just going to do a quick little icebreaker, something easy. And it's a great question for me because my answer changes every episode. What is one of your favorite items that we have for sale at the bunker?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I would say just because I saw this earlier today and I was like, this is probably one of the coolest things that we've got. But sadly, it's only in youth sizes currently. But we have this really cool shirt it's like a Where's Waldo, but it's a Sasquatch instead and it's dressed as Waldo and it's super cute. And I've had so many people ask me like, when are you going to get it in adult sizes? And I'm like, soon, I promise. We'll order it. We'll get it. That one's super popular right now, and it's really cute. I'm excited about it.
No, I love the Waldo shirt. I remember when me and you were working the trailer at Whiz Bangers Ball, like a ton of people were like, wait, I want to get matching ones for like me and my kids. And
Yeah.
we had to be like, oh, sorry, ma'am. We actually don't have it. And then I'm going to share my answer again because I just love the bunker and I, have just like a million things. I think like right now, because I wasn't in the bunker, but I was in the Bear Paw, which is just one of our other trading posts today. And I really love our pink hat. It's like a wide brim hat and it has our newer Summit logo on it. And I really vibe with the pink. It like reminds me of Barbie Summer last year. So it just like brings good vibes. So I really like the pink wide brim hat right now.
I'd probably say mine is this hat. Like, I love wearing it. I got it a couple of weeks ago, and it is most definitely probably in the top 3 most comfortable hats I've worn. So, I mean, that would probably be it right now. Well, I don't know. Maybe the white berries. The white berries are super comfortable too. But as far as like everyday item, I'd probably say this hat.
There we go.
So.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna kind of dive right in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've got a lot of questions.
So obviously you are a local, so you probably however many years ago, you probably heard about the site, or I mean maybe we would love to know how did you initially get involved? Was it maybe friends or family just because of you being a local? How did you kind of get started here at the Summit?
Yeah, so I initially didn't know anything about the Summit. I lived in the area, never knew anything about it, and actually drove past it, now I'm thinking about it, to college every weekend. Never even knew that it was here, which is actually pretty common, I think, for a lot of people around this part. But my aunt, actually, I don't remember all of it, but I remember sitting in my dorm room my sophomore year of college, I believe. And I was sitting at my desk, and the only reason I remember is because I remember where my desk was in my room, and I remember sitting there and looking for summer jobs for that summer, and my aunt had sent me a Facebook message and was like, hey, I saw this and it seems pretty cool, you should check it out. And it was an ad for the summit, and I applied, and that was kind of just how I got involved in it. And my sister actually did the same thing after, though I applied first, for the record. But yes, so we both applied on Facebook and just never really left, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I mean, same kind of. We have a similar story as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think the both of us kind of just like applied one day, and
Oh yeah.
here we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now we're just here. We just hang out.
So before we dive too deep into retail, so like where did you start, and what are some of like the other roles that you've done over the years in the summers and the falls, and then like kind of how you led up to retail?
So I started in 2018, not knowing that the next year was a Jamboree year. I was like, holy moly, what is this? I just got here. I have no idea what anything means. And then they're like, oh yeah, there's a Jamboree next year. I'm like, cool. I don't really know what that means, but I started in 2018, and I was a Summit Experience program guide. They weren't called rovers at the time. They were called program guides, and I knew absolutely nothing, and I was like, no idea what this job is about. I have no idea where I'm going. I showed up on the first day, and I was like, yeah, I literally knew nothing. Like, beyond nothing. Like, looking back on how much I knew about scouting, like compared to now, I'm like, man, I really like literally knew nothing. But I was a program guide my first year. There were 8 of us that year. There's one other female. And one of the cool things that I like really remember, I have a horrible memory, but one of the things that like I take from that summer that was huge and monumental for me is the other female that was a program guide. Her name's Allie, and we were really good friends. And so it's one of the cool things about the summit. Like, you meet so many people that you still like stay in contact with. And so she was definitely one of the highlights of that summer. But I was a program guide, and I went around to each week and did all the programs like you do. And so I got to do, and that was probably like, looking back on it, probably the best job for someone who knows nothing about the summit, because you literally get to go everywhere. So I got to see all of the different program areas, and I got to meet all these people and all that. So that was really, really cool. But there was a position that I really was like, I could totally do that. And so the next year I applied for the scheduler position, which is no longer a position, which makes me feel really old because I'm like, that does not even exist anymore. But the scheduler for the Summit Experience program was just basically the person who took, like, these are the groups arriving this week, what's their schedule? And you just basically created a schedule for them and gave it to them. So I was in charge of that, and just all of the paperwork side of Summit Experience. That was my job, which I don't know why we don't have that anymore, because it's really helpful. It's basically just an assistant is kind of what it turned into. But it was super fun. I like sat right out at this desk out here and just kind of was like, there, people walked up the steps and were like, oh, who are you? So I got to meet people that way, which was cool to meet a lot more of the full-time staff that way. But I did that for 2 years. So I did that during Jamboree, and I did that the next year after. And then my 4th summer, I was the Summit Experience Program Director. Because I was like, everybody else had already like moved on and gone back to school, or they had graduated, and there was nobody else to fill that role. And I knew Summit Experience at that point like the back of my hand. So I was like, well, I can definitely do that. And it was exciting to move up to a manager position and have that role. So I did that for that summer. And then after that, I was like, I'm kind of burnt out on Summit Experience. I was like, there's so many other things we could do here. And so I was like, let's switch and do something different. And so the next summer, I was crazy and switched to something again that I knew nothing about. And I went and was the Scout Camp Program Director. And so that was a learning curve, definitely, because I have no scouting background. So everything that I learned by doing Summit Experience. So I really didn't know, like, I definitely had to learn a lot for that job. But it was a lot of fun. I'm just the kind of person that wants a challenge, so moving on to something new was fun. So did that in my 5th year. And then after that summer is kind of what led me to where I'm at now. I met a lot of important people in my life that summer. And that was the end of that summer was where I really got into conversations with some of the upper management full-time staff about like sticking around this place and wanting to be here. And they really, I think, look for people that have been here for a long time, but there's definitely people that stand out and you can tell who those people are. And so they those are the types of people they want to stick around. And thankfully, since I got to meet people earlier in like the jobs I had, they knew who I was. So that was good. But yeah, so at the end of that summer, Rob Ridgway, now GM, was like, I think I have a job in mind for you. And I really want you to have this job. Had no idea what it was. He was just like, I have an idea. I'm going to circle back to you about it, but I have an idea. And so he got back to me a little bit later and was like, it was like nobody knew that this was happening. But we had a lot of position changes and a lot of people moving or retiring or leaving. And one of which was Cindy Abbott, who was the retail supervisor before me. And nobody knew that Cindy was leaving. Not leaving, but she was switching jobs. And so Rob had talked to me. He was like, I want you to do retail. And I was like, wait a second. Where is Cindy going? Cindy can't leave. I was like, Cindy has to stay here. And Cindy, if anybody has known Cindy, is an awesome human being. I love Cindy.
We absolutely love her.
She's fantastic.
She's so
yes.
amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love Cindy so much. So that was kind of like a shocker and was like, oh, like that was not on my radar whatsoever. Never in a million years would have guessed that retail was what that Rob wanted me to do. And I had no retail experience whatsoever. Like I have none. I literally, apart from this job, know nothing about retail. And so Rob really took a chance on me with that. And just he's always has had a lot of faith in me to do the job that he's given me. But I started that in November of that year. And so it's been about a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half doing retail. So it's been fun. I really enjoy it. So yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was really long-winded.
No, that's what we want.
That's what we want. We want to know. We want our guests to know. Like,
a lot of stuff.
yeah, no, that's great.
So, what would you say is your favorite thing about working retail so far?
I would say the difference in what I've gotten to do in the past year and doing in retail is my favorite thing, and that's being able to be creative. I love that about my job. I love that I get to pick out new merchandise, pick out new designs, or take other people's designs. I'm not really like the designer usually. I mean, sometimes I'll have an idea for something, but someone else with, more skill is able to do that and take like what's in my brain and put it on something.
Right.
But that's probably my favorite thing is seeing the things that I imagine or the things that I like brought to life and then having other people love them is just probably the coolest part that I love the most so far.
So I know you mentioned earlier that your sister also works here.
Yes.
So what would you say is the best thing about working with your sister? And then what is probably, I wouldn't say worse, but like is
most challenging.
Yeah, most challenging thing. And it can't be that they get y'all confused if they do.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that one, but I was like, I feel like she's going to say that, and that's kind of a cop-out.
I'll have to think. So at least for the best thing about working with my sister, I was actually trying to explain this to someone earlier today. But it's kind of hard to explain in a sense that if you don't have a twin, you don't quite understand what it's like. And there are a lot of twins who don't get along, but Becca and I have always gotten along, and we are literally best friends. And so it's, in a sense, like having your best friend work at the same place that you work at. So that's always really fun. Like you have things to talk about because you understand what you're talking about. Like I can tell her about, they went to this place on campus, she'll know what it is. Or like we can talk about some person, have you met this person? And like they actually understands. So that I think is part of what it is. but it's also just fun to have your best friend around.
Oh yeah.
100%.
And like we've always done everything together. So like we went to a small school. We always had the same classes growing up. Our rooms are combined. They're connected. We had shared a room for a long time, and then we went to college at the same place and had the same dorm. We were dorm room mates, whatever dorm mates. Well, I don't know what you want to call it, but we were literally, and still are to this day, like always doing everything together. So it's hard to imagine her not working at this place.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably the coolest thing is just having your best friend here and, knowing that she's here too. And it's really cool. In terms of the worst thing or most challenging, my sister and I are, as much as we get along, we are very different. And so we bicker a lot, but it's never like a full-out argue. Like we don't actually argue with each other very much. And if we do, it's like 5 minutes or like we're over it, which I feel like is a very female thing. Like we're just like, okay, we're over it now.
I feel like that's just like a really sibling thing too.
Yeah.
It
Or
is.
even like with a
It
lot of
definitely
super close
is.
friends. It's like,
Yes.
we'll go at it for like 10 or 15 minutes. We're like, oh,
It's
like
definitely
figuring out whatever. But then, 5 minutes later, someone's like, do you want to go to Sheets? Or like, do you want to go to
I
Crowd? Or
know,
whatever
I know.
it is.
Yeah.
So, or like,
Yeah. So we get along really well, but there are some moments I'm like, why would you do that? Why be like that? Or she'll like do something just to annoy me. I'm like, what are you doing? Because she does know me better than anybody else.
Yeah.
And so she's like, but I guess I have to mention like a positive thing in that sense too, because she knows me like better than anybody else. But on the bad days, she can bring me something that I like.
Yeah.
But also like on the good days, it's just funny to know, like, if you know Becca, she's just that type of person. Like, to see us together, we bicker constantly, but we love each other more than anything in the world, of course. But it's just funny, like, we're getting to the point where we just bicker with each other because we know each other so well. And I'm just like, why be like that? Why do that? And she's like, just because I can.
it's a little funny
I'm like,
sometimes. Like,
why?
I feel bad sometimes when I like around you and you're working, but like every so often it's like
It's pretty comical.
it can be a little funny sometimes,
But also, even though I'm not allowed to say it because people get us mixed up.
no, but that's like, well, actually, like, funny story about the very first time I met Liz and Becca. So like, I a couple days before arriving, I knew that like Becca was going to be my like boss, but I didn't know like anything about her. I didn't know what she looked like. Like, I didn't know anything. So the very first time, Liz actually came over to the table with me and some of my also new coworkers that I had pretty much just met that morning. And Liz comes over and they start talking to her, but they don't say like, "Hey Liz," like they don't say anything. It's like it's just immediate like conversation, and I'm just kind of like, "Cool, like awesome." And then Becca comes over, but I thought it was Liz because they were both wearing Chaco's like black pants and blueberries, and they both had their hair down the same day, and they both have like very curly hair. So, then Becca comes over, and they don't say anything again. They just start talking to each other, and I'm just like, okay, cool. So then, for the first like 2 days of my first season, I kept calling them by the wrong name. I felt really bad about it, but like I didn't like formally meet Becca until like 3 hours later.
It kind of happens all the time.
Now it's like easy, like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Even like after a couple weeks, I was like, okay, I've got this.
All right. So, even though I love talking about the summit, I want to get into like the local area. So, talk to us about some of the local areas. What are some of your like favorite places to go? Why are they your favorite places to go? What do you think if people come to West Virginia, like places to go visit?
Yeah. So there's definitely like where the summit is situated. There's basically like 2 directions that I tell people you can go one way or the other. Both of which have awesome things you can do. So if you're familiar with the area, you can go towards Fayette County, more into Fayette County towards Fayetteville, or you can go back to Raleigh County towards Beckley, which is the direction that I live. And so that is more familiar to me. But it's definitely more like commercialized. So there's a bunch of like really nice restaurants, really good food you can go to. That's like popular, chains that you can go to. So if you're looking for good food that you are familiar with, then that's a good place to go. But speaking of like on the food side first, like in Fayetteville and even in other like small areas like Oak Hill and places on your way to Fayetteville, there's a lot more of like locally owned places. So you have kind of a mix of both. You can go either direction if you want to go to Sheets or if you want to go to Cookout. You can do that in Beckley, but you can also go to like Cathedral Cafe. You can go to Pies and Pints. You can go to, all of these that, they're more local type restaurants, even though some are, owned and there are chain, type of things, but they're not like McDonald's.
Yeah.
They're not like Wendy. Like those, we have,
they're not like the mega chains. They're
exactly.
Like the local things that started here.
Yes. Yeah. And so you get a lot more of that. There is like, it's just definitely two different vibes in each direction you go. So like if you go towards Beckley, you do have more of like, you can go to the movies, you can go bowling, which now you can do either way, but you can go, like, my favorite place to go is the Chocolate Mousse.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cool. Mini golf place, ice cream, usually have board games, rock climbing, indoor rock climbing. So that's a super popular place, but it, again, it's more commercialized because it's busier because of the interstate routes right through there. So you have that, and then if you go towards the Fayetteville side, you have more of the recreational stuff. You have like Adventures on the Gorge, you have Ace, you have all of these rafting companies that have rafting, but they also offer, like, Ace has a water park you can go to. They do zip lining, they do rock climbing, they do all these different things that are more fun outdoor stuff. So it's really a cool place to be because you get kind of both the best of both worlds in a sense. Some of my favorite places to go, other than the Chocolate Mousse, I really like for Summit employees specifically. Like, I highly recommend them to get like involved in the community, to even plant roots, even if you're not going to be there for more than a couple months. But like, go to the library, go to, go to the little coffee shops, go to, go to the places that do soup kitchens, and they do, get involved in the community because you're going to be there for a while, and you might fall in love with it. You might love it and be there consistently, because I have found the people, especially the Summit staff that come back every year, are the ones that have good positive connections with the community and love going out to places like that. And we're lucky that we have those places to go to. And then towards the Fayetteville side, they have like bowling. I love to go bowling. They have, of course, Ace. I love to go into trivia night at Ace. That's fun.
Yes,
Even though I never win. I never win. I'm like, man, I really need to bring my mom. She knows everything. But yeah, I love trivia. I just started going to trivia. That's a really fun one. There's a bunch of cool antique shops, a bunch of cool local shops in downtown Fayetteville that are super cool to check out their merch too. And everywhere I go, I'm like, ooh, that's a really cool shirt. I wonder where they got it from. So like everywhere I go, my retail mind is like, ooh, that's a cool sticker. I should do that. Or that's a good idea. I should sell that. Things like that. So I like both directions. They're unique in their own sense. But
absolutely. So before we get too much further, big shout out to, once again, Garden Ground Outfitters, The Bunker, obviously, for supplying us with this amazing merch. We've got beautiful hats, nice mugs, this amazing hoodie, which is super awesome.
Corduroy-esque hoodie. It's very soft. I love this.
Oh, yes.
Shout out to some of our aerial team members who just recently posed with this on our Instagram. So you can go check it out. It's super soft, super comfy. I really told myself I needed to slow down on the motor this season, but this one is tempting. And
I think you should just go for it.
I probably should. I think you should. I look on the calendar. I think payday is coming up. So I still need to get that pink crew neck from Whiz Bangers while that we have the New River Gorge stuff. And I love our New River Gorge stuff too, because even though I love some of the vendors and that we partner with and stuff, and I love some of their trading posts, a lot of them their New River Gorge stuff is branded to to whatever outfitter that it's coming from, which is fine. A lot of it is really cute and really fun, but I do like how we have a lot of general New River Gorge stuff that is a lot better quality than some other places. So,
But so, if you would like to get some of this merch for yourself, be sure to go to store.summitbsa.org. Use the discount code July 2024 at checkout for 25% off on your order. And I highly recommend it because, like we said, super comfortable. And I mean, it's 25% off. Like,
Yeah, 25% off. Like,
all you have to do is watch at least to this point, and the rest, because the rest of it's always good. But you get a good discount code. You get some amazing merch, and it allows you to spend more money with the discount code because then you save money, so you spend more.
exactly.
But so,
All right, and we are back. Thank you for bearing with us, everyone. So now that we've got some of the local stuff out of the way, just so like being your friend and knowing you, I know that like you love traveling. Liz is also a concert person. Like she loves going to concerts, like just like me. I know like last summer, me, her, and a bunch of our other friends, we saw Ed Sheeran. We were on the barricade. Like it was so fun. Like we were so close to him. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear like just about some of the other like shows that you've been to recently, or like maybe like what was one really fun one that like you traveled, you like actually like took a hike to.
So I've been Ed Sheeran, of course. I love Ed Sheeran. But I actually went to 2 Ed Sheeran concerts of the same tour last year. I went to the one with you in Pittsburgh, and then I actually went to one at in California. So I went to that one in like late November-ish, I think. And that one was super fun. I got to go with one of my really good friends from college. And so she lives in like outside of LA-ish. I'm not exactly sure where. But she lives in that area. And so we got to go to the concert there, and then we actually got to do like he was doing a pre-show type of thing. It's not called pre-show, but like he was doing a show the day before at a really small venue, and it was like this auditorium, and it was so cool. So me and my friend Carrie, who's a super big Ed Sheeran fan, got to go to that. And so we went 2 nights in a row to go see Ed Sheeran in 2 different places, and it was so much fun. And then the first night was my favorite because it was like that more intimate setting, and he did like his new album that had just came out. So that was super cool, super fun. It was at the USC campus. And the other one was at the stadium that I can't remember the name of, but it's where their football team plays.
SoFi Stadium.
SoFi, thank you.
I know my
Look at you.
well, like,
Look at you coming in.
Like, I mean, this past summer, last summer, Taylor was there.
Yes.
She did like a dozen nights or something crazy. So
yes, and my friend that I went with got to go see Taylor at SoFi, and then I went to SoFi, which is humongous.
Yeah, it's an insane
SoFi is
stadium.
giant.
Yeah.
I literally left to go find ice cream, and it took me an hour to get back to where I was because we were on the barricade again, twice. And I literally went and spent an hour and had people being like, "You can't come this way," and I'm like, "Well, I don't know how to get back down to the barricade," and I still didn't find ice cream. It was fine. Whatever.
Did you find your spot back in the front row? Oh, good. Okay, that's the important part.
But yes, so that was awesome. And then I'm also a huge fan of the Eagles, and so I went to go see the Eagles. I've seen them twice last year too. So I went to see them once in Kentucky and once in, I think, North Carolina. I think it was in Greensboro, actually. And so I went to see the Eagles. My dad is a huge Eagles fan. And so he likes to watch old concert videos. And so then I got to be like, Dad, I went to go see them. And so that was like, if I can pick any show to go to in the future, the Eagles are playing at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Oh gosh, I would love to go to that. But yeah, so the Eagles are awesome. And one night, actually, they had their opener wasn't able to make that one night, and so we got to see the Doobie Brothers and the Eagles on the same night. They were the opener, so it was super fun. It was awesome. And the second time, I got to take my sister. So those are probably the most recent that were like phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. So
I love that.
I know. It was so fun.
And I think another thing too that Corey and I were also wondering. So obviously, back in the day, you were a program guide.
Mm-hmm.
now my position, well, a rover. That's what we call it.
It's a rover. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, tripping my words. Rovers now. And like, I mean, obviously you are, in the bunker a lot and doing everything. But what do you think is like one of your favorite program areas that we have here at the summit, especially you being here for so long and being able to take advantage of it, not just in the summer, but also being around all the time. So like, what are some of your favorite program areas? Do you think, or at least like specific activities?
Yeah, my favorites when I was a program guide were definitely like archery. And like the shooting range, but I'm horrible shot, but I really like archery. So archery was my favorite. I always liked to do Laporte, and which is like the foam disc shooting. I'm really bad at it because I never did archery before, but oh my gosh, I loved it. And that was like one of the fun things that you can like challenge some of the scouts to and be like trying to hit foam discs, and they're like, "Oh, I got one." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But that's probably one of my favorites. And then I really like ziplining, of course. And I did get to go whitewater rafting when I was a program guide. That was a lot of fun too. And of course, a big thing in the area. So being able to do it, because I'd never done it before. And so being a local and ever rafting, people are like always like, "What? You've never gone rafting?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So I actually got to go rafting. So those are really fun. Even though rafting is off site, it's still, still a program area. But I would definitely say if I had to pick one, probably archery. Yeah.
But you are so right. You cannot go wrong with the Lower New River. Like,
I know.
I've really been missing it. I need to we need to do another staff raft because I miss the Lower New River. Like all of my groups this season, when I, every day. I mean, obviously, I hope people are having fun. I hope if I'm your rover that you're having a good time. But I hear endless praise about the whitewater. So I'm super excited that it's been working out for everyone this season so far. So.
So one thing that I'm wondering is, what would you say to someone, maybe they're 17, almost turning 18, because to work here you got to be 18. What would you say to someone thinking about coming to work here at the summit? What would be your words of encouragement?
I would say to those that aren't from here, it will be a different message to those that are here. So first of all, to those that aren't from the area, I would say step out of your comfort zone. West Virginia is definitely not like a lot of other places, which I think is really awesome. And of course, I mean, I'm biased. I'm a local, so I love it. But I think that just getting to be in this environment with, the mountains enclosing you all around and just the beautiful scenery and the weather, there's just something about it that you can't quite explain. And it's really if you make the most of it, you really can find another family in the staff members that are here.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if you, like I said, get out of your comfort zone and go out to meet people and go do fun things out in the community. If you're gonna come and work and not be willing to do that, I would say you're not gonna have as much fun. You're still gonna have fun, but you're gonna absolutely make the most of it if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. And then to the people that are from here, I would say that it's one of my favorite things is being from here, and I would encourage them to, is you can definitely put such a positive light on the area to people that have no idea, West Virginia, even people know nothing really about West Virginia. It's so small, and often just overlooked. And so it's really cool as a local to be able to show people all the places that you love and all the things that you love. And that's one of my favorite things. And I would encourage them to be willing, even though you are from here, to go to the places, even if it's you've been to the Chocolate Mousse 500 times, but there's people that haven't been, and you can be the person to show them a good time and to make them feel included because the people there, the people around, or you go there and you see your cousin or whatever, because it's such a small area, you never know who you're going to see.
Right.
And, you could make someone feel welcome because you know the area so much. So I think it's either way, local or not local. There's definitely something about being part of the Summit family. Like I said earlier, you meet so many people here that you'll know for the rest of your life, and you keep talking to that. The other program guide that I met, she lives in Florida, and we still talk because we met 2018 and haven't seen each other since, but we still talk to each other because that's how much of a family that people here are. So
oh yeah, And I know during the first episode, and I believe the last one, that's one of the things that I hit on the most. Is like working here, and a lot of workplaces they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna build a family environment, one big family," but here you really feel it.
This is like the good family.
Oh yeah,
this is like the good family environment. Like I definitely can say this is not like this isn't like the weird like corporate like kind of like just to try and get people to work here. Like it genuinely like you can really build like genuine connections.
Oh yeah,
really find your people out here for sure.
Because every interaction is just like to me, it doesn't feel faked or staged. Like, you walk into certain stores and you can tell, like, it's just repetitive for them. Like, hi, welcome to insert wherever they work. But here, you see somebody and you're like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Like, it's genuine. And that's one of the things that I love about working here. But yeah, Clifton, you got anything else? I know we're getting close on time. Our tech guys keeping me informed on time. So,
let's see. I'm trying to think of like something like fun to kind of round out the episode. Maybe like, well, with 4th of July, basically here, what is like your favorite 4th of July like tradition or like thing that like happens around the holiday?
I would say growing up is different than now. Like growing up, I have family, that have served overseas, that have served, in the U.S. in multiple different branches. And so that's a big thing, I think. And it's a big community thing, too. A lot of people here have. And so that's a huge part of who we are as a community. But I also, like, my family is super close. I have a really big family, and we're all, like, really, really close to each other. And so every chance we get to be together, to celebrate something together, we try to do something every month to get together. And there's like 30 of us now. So it's like, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of small children. But it's super fun, and that's something that everybody can enjoy. We do fireworks every year. And it's just a fun time to get together. And then now we do, like, it feels like it's a tradition now because we've done it at, like, 4th of July at my house for so many years. And we've invited so many Summit staff every year, which shout out to my mother because she's
we love Renee.
And
the amount of times I've been over to, like, the parents have hosted me and other people, it's just like, we love their mother. Like, she is such a wonderful woman, literally. I mean,
she is the type of person to say our house is welcome to anybody and everybody. Just show up. We'll feed you. We'll give you anything you need. We'll give you a place to stay if you need. Like, she's that type of person, and I'm super thankful for it because I feel no, like, hesitancy inviting anybody and everybody to my house, to our house, to do types of things like that. And so every year, the past at least probably 3 or 4 years, we've invited a bunch of Summit staff up to the house and just done a bunch of fireworks. And of course it's hard because it's we're in the middle of the season, so it's it's complicated. But every year we do fireworks in my house, and it's one of my favorite memories of the summer. So I'm super excited about it.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Well, unfortunately, that's about all the time we've got for today. I know we could probably sit here another 2 hours and just talk. Oh yeah, so I say certified yapper Clifton over here. But we hope that you all enjoyed watching. Once again, if you want to get some amazing Summit merch, go to store.summitbsa.org and make sure you use discount code July 2024. Once again, happy 4th of July, everyone. We hope that you're having a fun and safe time. And be sure that if you enjoyed this episode, you like, subscribe, share with all your friends. Your mom, your brother, your sister, your dog, your uncle, your cat.
Your barista.
That's the other day. Yeah, your barista. Just like tell somebody in the drive-thru while you're ordering cookout, getting your large cheer wine. So make sure you tell everybody, and we hope to see you back for the next one.